Hi everyone, if you're struggling not getting success, then this video is for you. Nowadays, there's one truth in life that nobody can change. Your success is in your hands. It is not in the hands of luck. The only person who has the power to decide your future is you. But the question is, do you believe in yourself? Today, we'll talk about it. My name is Muniba Mazari, and I'm a motivational speaker. If you find this video fruitful, then you can appreciate me by like and subscribe and start a new journey with me. Let's start the topic. Time. It's the one treasure we all have in equal measure, yet so often we let it slip through our fingers like grains of sand. I want to ask you today, how are you spending your time? Are you guarding it like the precious gift it is? Or are you giving it away carelessly to distractions, regrets, and things that don't serve your growth? Because the truth is, time is life itself. When we waste time, we waste life. And when we honor time, we honor our very existence. Time is the most precious currency you will ever own. Not gold, not diamonds, not the money in your account, but the minutes, the hours, the days that silently slip through your hands each moment you breathe. And yet, it's the one thing most people take for granted until it's gone. Let me ask you something. If I handed you $1 million but told you that tomorrow would never come, would the money matter? Would the luxury, the praise, the approval mean anything without time to enjoy it? You see, we chase so much in life: status, success, comfort, and yet forget the very foundation upon which all of that is built: time. The richest people on earth and the poorest person on the street have one thing in common: 24 hours in a day. The difference is never in the amount of time we have, but in how we use it. That's the game changer. That's the secret the world's most fulfilled people have unlocked. They treat time like treasure, not like trash. They understand that every second is a chance to shift your life, to rise above your past, to build something meaningful, even if no one sees it yet. Time is not just ticking, it's speaking. And it's asking you, what are you doing with me? When you start to view time as currency, everything changes. You become mindful of who and what you're spending it on. You stop settling for conversations that drain you, places that trap you, and habits that waste you. Because just like you wouldn't give away your last dollar to something meaningless, you no longer give your time to what doesn't nourish your soul. That's not selfish. That's self-awareness. That's knowing your worth. That's honoring your future. Here's the truth. Time doesn't come with a refund policy. Once it's gone, it's gone. And yet so many of us live as if we have forever. We procrastinate on our dreams, delay our healing, postpone our purpose for someday. But someday is not a day on the calendar. Someday is today wearing a mask. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years waiting for a time that never comes, only to wake up and realize life has already passed you by. The pain of wasted time is one of the heaviest burdens a soul can carry. Don't let it be yours. What if you woke up every morning with the awareness that your time is limited? What if you looked at each day not as something to survive, but something sacred? Would you still scroll endlessly through distractions? Would you still give energy to people who don't value you? Or would you look in the mirror and say, today, I'm investing in what matters. Today, I choose to build instead of break, to grow instead of shrink, to live instead of merely exist. Because that is where transformation begins, not in a sudden miracle, but in the silent, consistent honoring of time. And here's the beautiful part. When you start valuing time, time starts valuing you. You begin to see opportunities you used to miss. You develop habits that move you forward. You cultivate relationships that elevate you. Your days become more than routines. They become rituals. Purpose becomes your compass. And fulfillment becomes a byproduct of how you show up, not what you chase. So I ask you again, how are you spending your time? Because how you spend it is how you spend your life. Every second is a seed. What are you planting? Are you growing regret or legacy? Fear or faith? Chaos or clarity? You have a choice every day. And the value of that choice is measured in time. Don't just count your days. Make your days count. Because time, this moment right now, is your most priceless possession. Use it like your future depends on it. Because it does. Your life is a reflection of how you use your time. Every decision you make, whether to rise early or hit snooze, to focus or drift, to grow or stay stagnant, shapes the entire architecture of your life. Most people believe their lives are defined by fate or external forces, but the truth is far more powerful. The life you are living right now is a mirror of what you've done with your time. It is a reflection not of what happened to you, but of how you responded with the time you were given. That truth can be either frightening or freeing, and the choice is yours. There's a reason successful people appear to have a different energy. It's not luck. It's not a secret. It's not privilege. It's time, respected and intentionally used. They understand something most overlooked. Time is not just a measurement. It's a tool, a gift, a test, and a teacher. If you give your time to purpose, your life reflects purpose. If you give your time to pain, your life reflects pain. What you do daily is what you become permanently. And when you realize that, everything changes. You cannot expect peace while spending time in chaos. You cannot expect clarity while devoting your hours to distractions. If your time is scattered, your mind will be too. If your time is controlled by others, so will your destiny be. That's the brutal truth many don't want to confront. No, but let this be a wake-up call, because you're not running out of time. You're running out of the illusion that how you spend it doesn't matter. We live in a world that glorifies business, but being busy is not the same as being productive. You can spend your entire day doing 1,000 things and still go to bed feeling empty, exhausted, and unfulfilled. Why? Because it's not about how much time you use. It's about how intentionally you use it. Ask yourself this. Is what you're doing today building the future you want to live in tomorrow? Because if the answer is no, then something needs to shift. And that shift begins with how you treat your time. Look around. Everything you admire in someone else, the discipline, the growth, the peace, the strength, it all came from how they chose to use their time. Time invested in healing. Time invested in learning. Time invested in believing when no one else did. And the best part, That same power lies in your hands. Your past doesn't have to define you, but how you use your time today will. No one rises by accident. No one transforms by coincidence. It all comes down to time, consistently used with purpose. The reality is, you're either designing your life or letting it be designed for you. And time is the blueprint. Every moment you give to scrolling, to gossip, to overthinking, to doubt, is a moment stolen from your potential. But when you begin to take ownership, when you say, "This is my time and I choose how to spend it," you stop being a victim of life and start becoming the architect of it. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight, but you do have to start. 1 hour of focus, 1 day of discipline, 1 week of alignment. Stack enough of those, and the mirror of your life begins to reflect something different, something deeper, something truer, something powerful. Your time is the brush. No, your choices are the strokes, and your life is the canvas. If you don't like what you see, you have the power to repaint it. That power is found not in wishing, not in waiting, but in doing. And doing begins with your time. So choose wisely, because doesn't just tell the world what you care about. It tells you who you are becoming. Waiting for the perfect moment is one of the greatest illusions that keeps people trapped in mediocrity. We often tell ourselves, "I'll start when I feel ready," or "maybe later when things calm down." But the truth is, life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause until your confidence catches up. The stars will not align to make everything ideal. If you're constantly waiting for everything to be perfect, you will wait forever. And in that waiting, you miss the chance to become the person you were always meant to be. There is something powerful about understanding that the perfect moment is not something you find, it's something you create. People who change their lives, who rise from the ashes of doubt and despair, do so not because the conditions were ideal, but because they chose to act despite them. They chose to move forward when they were still afraid. They chose to speak up when their voice was still shaking. They chose to begin when nothing felt certain. That is where real transformation happens, not in perfection, but in motion. The harsh reality is that fear often dresses itself up as perfectionism. We claim we're just waiting for the right time, when deep down we're afraid to fail, afraid to be judged, afraid to be seen trying. But what if I told you that trying is the most beautiful thing you could ever do? What if I told you that the very act of beginning, flawed, unprepared, messy, is the beginning of your power, because action, no matter how small, is louder than fear. Movement drowns out doubt. Effort builds courage. No, every single step forward tells the world and yourself that you are worthy of growth even before the world validates it. Think about how many dreams have died because someone waited too long. Not because they weren't talented, not because they weren't capable, but because they delayed their first step. That delay is the silent killer of potential. It steals from your future. It robs you of experiences that could have shaped you. And the saddest part, most people don't even realize it's happening until years have passed and they look back with regret. You were never meant to live on pause. Life is happening now. The people who need your gifts are out there now. The opportunities you're waiting on are already forming, but they will only meet you on the road of progress, not hesitation. So even if you're unsure, even if you feel unready, start anyway. Start with the shaky hands. Start with the broken pieces. Start with your heart pounding in your chest. Just start. Because what you're building doesn't require you to be perfect. It only requires you to be present and willing. So many people say, one day I will, but one day is not a promise. It's a delay. The only time that is truly yours is this moment, right now. If you want to write. If you want to heal, begin the work. If you want to start a business, take the first action. Stop telling yourself that you need more time, more skills, more validation. What you need is to believe that progress matters more than perfection, because it does. The truth is, every master was once a beginner. Every expert once felt clueless. Every confident speaker once stumbled over their words. Every strong person once felt weak. But they didn't let the waiting stop them. They knew that momentum creates confidence, not the other way around. You grow through doing. You evolve through movement. And sometimes the door only opens after you've knocked 100 times. But none of those knocks would have happened if you were waiting for the timing to be right. So don't let the lie of perfection keep you small. Don't wait for the right time to show up. Become the kind of person who shows up and makes the time right, because this very moment is the most perfect one you will ever have. When you begin to see time as a sacred resource, you naturally become more intentional about how you use it. It's not just about being busy or filling every moment with activity. It's about aligning your time with your values, your purpose, and your future. That shift in perspective changes everything. Suddenly, every hour becomes an opportunity to become more of who you are meant to be. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. And in that intentional design, you find the difference between existence and fulfillment. You see, time doesn't ask for your permission to pass. It moves forward with or without your awareness. But when you take control of how you engage with it, when you become conscious of what you're doing and why, you reclaim your power. You become a creator, not just a consumer. And when you create with intention, your life begins to carry a different energy. It begins to reflect clarity, discipline, and direction. Most people don't lack time. They lack clarity. They lack a reason to say no to distractions. And that clarity only comes when you sit down with yourself and ask, what truly matters to me? Because when you know what matters, you begin to protect your time like it's sacred. Because it is. You begin to say no to the noise. You begin to rise early, not because it's trendy, but because the stillness of the morning gives you space to think. You begin to cut off meaningless conversations, not out of arrogance, but out of reverence for your mental peace. You become fiercely intentional, not as a performance, but as a commitment to your future self. That's the power of alignment. When your time matches your truth, There's something deeply powerful about a person who is intentional with their hours. They don't just wake up and wander. They move with purpose. They don't chase validation. They chase growth. They aren't motivated by likes or applause. They are driven by a deep sense of mission. That kind of person doesn't just build a life, they build legacy. And the world begins to respond differently to them. Opportunities flow to those who make room for them. Peace flows to those who choose it in how they spend their day. Intentional living is not about being rigid or robotic. It's about being present, being aware, asking yourself constantly, does this moment serve my vision or sabotage it? And the more often you choose the path that serves you, the stronger you become. Your mindset sharpens, your energy strengthens, your confidence grows, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer drifting, you are directing. You are steering the ship of your life, and even when storms come, you trust your hands on the wheel. Distractions will always knock at your door. Doubt will always whisper in your ear. But when you are intentional with your time, those voices lose their power. You no longer let other people's urgency become your emergency. You no longer let fear write your calendar. You decide, you lead. And in that leadership, you build a life that reflects discipline, vision, and peace. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. The truth is, the people you admire are not more talented than you. They are not luckier than you. They simply chose to honor their time more than their excuses. They chose intention over impulse. And every day that they made that choice, their life shifted inch by inch toward greatness. You have that same power. It's not in some far off future. It's in your next decision. What you do with your next hour, your next minute, your next breath, that's where transformation begins. Because time, when honored with intention, becomes the foundation of everything extraordinary. The most precious currency you have isn't money, it's time. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose opportunities and create new ones. But once a moment slips away, you can never get it back. And what makes that truth even more profound is that we are all given the same 24 hours in a day, yet the outcomes in our lives are dramatically different. Why? Because how we spend our time determines what we create, what we become, and ultimately, how we are remembered. Every hour you waste isn't just lost, it's traded. You are constantly trading time for something, whether you realize it or not. Are you trading it for growth or for regret? Are you trading it for healing or for distraction? Are you investing your time in what lifts your soul, or are you spending it on what slowly drains it? These are the questions we rarely ask ourselves, but they are the questions that shape the entire direction of our lives. If you don't place a high value on your time, no one else will. You see, when you begin to truly understand the value of your time, your life starts to shift in powerful ways. You no longer allow meaningless conversations to drain your energy. You stop giving your best hours to things that don't align with your purpose. You start being intentional, not out of arrogance, but out of deep self-respect. Because time is not just a resource, it's a reflection of your priorities. Show me how you spend your time, and I'll show you what you truly value. And here's the part, most people don't realize you don't need more time. You need to be more intentional with the time you already have. Think about that. How many hours are spent scrolling, doubting, procrastinating, overthinking? Those hours don't disappear. They accumulate. They shape your habits. They shape your identity. What you repeatedly do becomes your life. And that means if you change how you use your time, you change who you are becoming. One of the greatest shifts happens when you stop saying, I don't have time, and start saying, it's not a priority. That one shift forces you to take ownership. Instead of blaming your schedule, you confront your choices. And in that confrontation, you find your freedom. Because when you admit that you have time for what matters, you also accept the responsibility of choosing what matters most. That kind of honesty isn't easy, but it's liberating. It breaks the cycle of excuses and empowers you to design your life with intention. People often ask, and how do I change my life? And I always say, change how you spend your day. Your future is not built in the distant someday. It's built in the now. It's in the decisions you make between sunrise and sunset. It's in what you do with your morning. It's in whether you choose growth over comfort, discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of your next decision. Not in 5 years, but in 5 minutes. Your time is your voice in the world. It speaks even when you say nothing. It tells the world what you believe in, what you stand for, and who you are becoming. So guard it like a treasure. Spend it like an investment. And give it only to what truly moves your heart and aligns with your purpose. Because the legacy you leave behind won't be built by the number of days you live. It will be built by what you chose to do with them. If there's anything you take from this moment, let it be this: your time is too precious to waste. Protect it. Prioritize it. And most importantly, use it in a way that makes your future self proud. You don't get to decide how much time you have, but you do get to decide how meaningful it becomes. Make it count. Every single second. When we finally understand that time isn't just slipping through our fingers, it's shaping every inch of who we are becoming, we begin to wake up differently. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and purposefully. Because the way you use your time doesn't just influence your routine, it defines your identity. Every minute you spend in alignment with your dreams is a silent declaration. I am becoming who I was born to be. And the most powerful truth is this: how you spend your time is a direct reflection of your self-worth. If you don't value yourself deeply, you won't value your time. And if you don't value your time, the world will offer you endless ways to waste it. People will project their chaos onto your schedule. Distractions will dress up as opportunities. Comfort will disguise itself as self-care, when in reality, it's just avoidance. But when you begin to see yourself as worthy of growth, worthy of peace, worthy of purpose, that's when you start guarding your time like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. You are the gatekeeper of your energy. your focus, your passion, and time is the doorway through which all those things either flourish or fade. So ask yourself, what am I allowing through that door? Is it nourishing or draining me? Is it building the life I want or delaying it? Most people don't live unfulfilled lives because they lacked opportunities. They live unfulfilled lives because they traded their time for things that didn't matter. And by the time they realize it, they've spent years investing in things that gave nothing back to their soul. But you can interrupt that cycle right here, right now. You don't have to wait for a tragedy or a crisis to start protecting your time. You don't need permission to step into alignment with your purpose. The moment you choose to believe that your life matters, your time becomes sacred. You no longer entertain meaningless arguments. You no longer stay in places that drain you. You stop justifying toxicity. You stop shrinking your schedule to make room for people who never make room for you. Because now you understand, your time is your essence. Your time is your power. The world will always try to convince you that you're being too extreme, too selective, too disciplined. Let them. Let them misunderstand your boundaries. Let them mislabel your focus, because you are not here to waste your life pleasing everyone. You are here to maximize your existence, to express your divine potential, to leave behind a legacy that whispers through time long after you're gone. And that legacy is being written, not someday, but in how you spend your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings, every single day. It's okay to slow down and be still, but do it with intention. It's okay to rest, but do it because you're recharging for something meaningful, not because you're escaping what you fear. When your time becomes purposeful, even your silence becomes sacred. Even your rest becomes productive, because everything you do is infused with clarity, with direction, with identity. You stop surviving and start sculpting. You stop existing and start evolving. You stop reacting to life and begin to lead it. So the next time you reach for your phone to scroll mindlessly, or say yes to something that doesn't align, pause. Ask yourself, is this moment building me or breaking me? Because your time is not just a measurement. It is a mirror. It shows you what you believe you deserve. It shows you whether you are leading your life or following the noise. And when you lead with intention, you begin to rise into the version of yourself you were always meant to be. Not by force, but by choice. You don't need to do more. You need to align more. Your peace is in the alignment. Your power is in the choice. And your life, it's unfolding in real time. Right now, moment by moment. So choose wisely. Because what you do with your time is not just shaping your day, it is shaping your destiny.